So, welcome to another episode of the Get to Know Boxing podcast as part of the Get to Know Boxing YouTube channel. I'm joined by my third guest of the series. It's Liam Dillon. Appreciate you coming on, mate. How are you doing? I know obviously you've not fought in terms of boxing since the end of 2019. So there's a lot happened in the world since then. How have you been doing sort of with boxing and in terms of boxing and outside the ring as well?
Yeah, I've just been keeping active, keeping fit, and yeah, I've been working and sticking to my training, just getting ready for when it all gets back up and running.
Has there been any talks of getting out in a fight or anything in this time, or have you kind of just been keeping your head down and training?
There was talk back in 2020 of a possible fight versus Archie Sharp,
All right, okay, yeah.
WBO European. My name was pulled in the mix, put in the mix, but they ended up fighting Jeff Fori instead.
All right, yeah. I know Jeff
So,
Ford.
yeah, that didn't fall through for me.
All right, okay. And just going back a little bit, obviously, it's my first time speaking to you. So just tell me a little bit how you started boxing and what was it that brought you into boxing?
I started boxing, I don't even know what year, about, I think it was 2013. I went down Wolverhampton Forest ADT with two of my mates. I never thought about doing boxing. I never watched boxing.
Yeah.
And yeah, I went down there and I kind of fell in love with it immediately, really. Really enjoyed it. So I had a few amateur fights, stayed active in the amateurs. That was most of my childhood was just boxing and training, run all up and down the country, competing on gym shows.
Yeah.
Yeah, I finished with a 50-50 amateur record. I won just as many. I've won a few more than I lost by the end of it.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about the amateur experience and stuff. So do you have like sort of any titles or anything in the amateurs, or was it just in terms of, like you said, the gym fights, going up and down the country and just gaining that experience against good opponents?
No, I didn't win any titles. Yeah, just going on gym shows and experience, and I was just enjoying it really.
And obviously you turned pro, was it 21 you turned pro?
Yeah, 21, yeah.
So you had like quite a few learning fights at the start of your career, and then you became Southern Area champion. So obviously, like you're saying, you had an even record as an amateur. I bet that was like kind of sort of a big thing then, becoming a champion as a professional.
It was. I think when I turned pro was like kind of, I say, little amateur experience. We didn't have any like titles or anything. Sort of came out of nowhere really.
Yeah.
As a pro, I had a really good team around me. Down Team Spar in Chinkford. My coaches Steve and Bob took me under their wing, and yeah, I got a really good team around me. I think I owe a lot of my success to them. Now they sorted me out a nutritionist with Paul O'Neill nutrition. I got a brilliant strength conditioning coach and Patrick Grove Sandy, and yeah, Ian Wilson who owns Team Spar. You know, he's just been brilliant to me, and yeah, I owe a lot of my success to them. So
Yeah, and obviously winning that title, is that now kind of like you said, you might not have had maybe an ambition of like winning a title when you turn pro. So now you've won that title. Do you kind of feel like, wow, like I can really do something with boxing now?
yeah, I think when I turned pro, that was kind of like my main goal. I thought that would be like the career high, or if I won a Southern Area.
Yeah.
And I've done it in my first 2 years, so I was kind of like gonna move on to like probably move on to bigger and better things. Now maybe I could win a British by the end of it.
Yeah, I mean, like in that British mix of super feathers, there's some really good fights out there at the moment. Obviously, Zelfa Barrett. There's like you said, Archie Sharp, Sam Bowen. Are you kind of looking at them fighters now, or are you looking to, after a bit of a time out the ring, are you looking to sort of get maybe a couple of fights before that?
Um, I wouldn't really think about having like warm up fights. I'd rather just jump straight back into the mix.
Yeah.
End of the day, I'm chasing like titles, not names. I like I'm mandatory for the English.
All right. Okay.
I get that, and I like to win the British before my time sort of is done with boxing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, you fought, didn't you, for the English against Yusuf Kamari? He had a really good performance, didn't he, on the show in Gibraltar? A very competitive fight. I actually watched that last night, and it was a brilliant fight. I mean, your style, come forward, and you throw a lot of punches. It's really exciting to watch. So, yeah, what do you think about seeing him on that platform now and knowing that you got a draw against him?
I didn't watch it. I heard that he done really well. Um, no, I didn't really think much of it. I mean, he does his thing. I do mine. I wanted the rematch like straight away.
Yeah,
My manager Goodwin phoned me up and said are you up for the rematch? I said yeah. I actually said it straight after the decision was made. That it was a draw, and then I got a call like about half an hour later from my coach saying that he didn't take it.
right, okay.
Um, I was a bit gutted because I wanted to avenge that draw.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah,
Like, the ego in me wants to. Like, I look on BoxRec on my record and I'm like, I want to put a win next to that
yeah,
draw.
and put it right.
But, at the end of the day, you can't put a gun to his head and force him to fight. Like,
Yeah,
he goes on
exactly.
and does his thing, and I think I'm just going to stay in my own lane, really.
Steve Goodwin, who's like a very sort of respected manager, and he puts on a lot of shows, doesn't he, on like the small hall circuit. So how is your relationship with him?
Yeah, it's good. I mean, he puts on good shows. They helped me get quite a big following. I think that was what I struggled with when I first turned pro. I didn't really have a big following, but I think when people come once, they tend to want to come again because he puts on good shows. You always get a stacked card. He's always
Yeah,
a title
definitely.
fight, or at least two or three top in the bill. So I think yeah, he's done really well for me, and I can't really say a bad thing about him. I know some people. I think every boxing manager and promoter is like someone has a bad story about someone. But I can put my hand on heart and say he's done really good for me.
Fighting your majority of your first fights on like the small hall circuit, have you had to work alongside boxing as well then?
But yeah, I've worked my whole career. So
Yeah.
I do scaffolding. I work for a scaffold, and yeah, they sponsor me, and I work full time.
Is that difficult when you're training for a fight to like, stay
Um,
focused?
the thing is, my job's quite physical, so sometimes when like you're doing really hard, like lifting up hard stuff, heavy stuff, and you running up ladders or roping up unit beams, and it kind of feels like training. I think a lot of people say like, my biggest asset
Yeah,
as a
yeah.
boxer is my strength, and I think that comes from scaffolding. So it sort of benefits me more, to be honest.
In terms of your next fight, I know you said you messaged me the other week and said that the fight that was scheduled on BoxRec, I think, is against Dennis Wahome. Is it how you pronounce it?
Yeah.
Um, what's the reason for that not going ahead then?
I've been told that it's most probably going to be September.
Right, okay. So are they waiting for like sort of the crowds to get back then?
Yeah. I mean, I would want to fight with a full crowd, to be honest.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah. I mean, like a lot of people, even the ones that have turned pro during this pandemic, they've kind of the opposite. They've never had the experience of fighting in front of a crowd. So getting crowds back, you must kind of be glad to not have to fight in front of an empty event or an empty arena.
I mean, one of the things I like about boxing is I can get all like my friends and family in the same place, and I get to after doing like an 8 week camp of like not really socialising, I get to see everyone
Yeah,
on
yeah,
like night. So it's a bit weird, I think, to fight now and then just go home after.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, like it very strange at the start, but like now it kind of like when I was watching the event of the weekend with Billy Joe Saunders and Canelo, it seemed surreal to have people there, like watching as a fan.
I know. I remember watching like a few fights on TV with like no crowds, and you can just hear everything.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it must be like so surreal, especially for the fighters that do draw a big crowd. I mean, like just going from that to having like no one there, it must kind of take another level of sort of motivation and like, yeah, it must be very difficult.
Yeah, I mean, I think once you get going, you're probably on it. But I think like the ring walk must not feel the same or anything like that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, what do you think about the super featherweight division in terms of the world scene? Obviously, like Oscar Valdez is there. You've got like Miguel Burchell, who he beat, and like Shakur Stevenson. Who do you think out of them sort of top 5, top 10 guys, who is your like sort of favorite fighter?
Um, Probably Valdez.
Did you watch the fight against Burchell?
I saw the knockout. I was actually quite surprised. I didn't think he was gonna win that fight.
Yeah, no, I like that. Burchell was like sort of, if he won that fight, he probably would have been maybe top 10, top 5 pound for pound. So like seeing him
Yeah,
lose to Valdez.
but yeah, that knockout was brilliant, brilliant timing.
Yeah, I mean, he's just one of them fighters that he doesn't look very. I don't know. He doesn't look like he's the best fighter, but like he just seems to get the job done every time.
Yeah, he's got very precision in his punches.
Yeah, yeah,
High
definitely.
work rate. So
So who did you say you were training with now?
I trained with Steve Kipps and Bob Kipps down at Team Spa.
And you've been with him since you turned pro,
Yeah, a little bit before I was
right?
doing that.
Okay.
I was training down Spa. I had a few unlicensed fights on the Spa. But I walked away from boxing a bit, and Steve got in contact with me. So I used to spar his fighter Matthew Chanda,
Yeah, yeah,
and he was fighting for the Commonwealth for the Duke Knee Cup, and he asked if I wanted to do a few help sparring and in prep for that. So yeah, I started doing that, and that's how I kind of got in sort of training with Steve, and then I looked at going professional myself.
yeah. And what do you think of the unlicensed boxing? I mean, like myself, I've had a couple of the white collar, and I've had one amateur fight, and I've been thinking myself about getting into the unlicensed sort of boxing scene. Like, would you recommend that as experience? Like, obviously there is the amateurs as well, but is that different to the amateurs, or is it the same?
It is a bit. I had good experience. I had 4, 1, 3. I
Yeah.
mean, it's it's up to you, and it's like I'm gonna be honest. I've seen some dodgy ones. It's
What
hard for me
so?
to say do it. I mean, I sometimes you get mismatched fights, and
Yeah.
I mean, my last one, I fought someone who was over a stone heavier than me. So
Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Obviously, the pool of fighters will be a lot sort of like a lot smaller, won't it? So they might have to like sort of outmatch you a little bit in that sense.
oh yeah, I've seen some of my last few fights that have been completely mismatched. Like one guy, Tell was probably had like 15 years experience, for someone who's had like a few months.
Yeah. Yeah. So it might be all right then if I get matched against someone that's rubbish. But if it goes the other way, then it'll be a painful night.
Yeah, yeah, and it just takes the fun out of it.
Yeah, I can imagine, and not having that even playing field. I mean, there's
Yeah.
obviously weight classes for a reason, isn't there?
Yeah, so I think as long as you have good people around you, good people you trust, and you've seen a few of the shows yourself, and they match them up really well, and it's done properly, then yeah, it could be a very good experience. But if it's done the opposite, and you've got people who are only looking out for number one, then no, it won't be.
So in terms of boxing, like how do you feel about boxing, like the mental side of it? Obviously, the physical side is important, but the mental side of boxing, a lot of people say is more important. I mean, like the training, getting yourself to every session, and just like staying disciplined when you're out of the ring as well. Like how hard is that?
Um, it can be hard. Sometimes when once you get into a routine, you sort of becomes like second nature. Sometimes when I'm at work, no matter what day I've had, I mean, I've had days I've had to rope up like 400 corrugated sheets,
Yeah, yeah,
and chaining up long tube all day. And sometimes I'm just shattered, but no matter what day I have, I always, if I got strength conditioning at 3 o'clock, I always make it to the gym at 3 o'clock.
yeah.
My strength conditioning coach is very good at like getting you motivated. So it's certain days when I walk in the gym and I'm shattered, I think I should just be in a beer garden somewhere. I shouldn't be doing this. But, you just get on with it.
How do you feel about the pre-fight and like sort of the build up to a fight? Do you get nervous? Like, what's your feelings before a fight?
Um, I do. I get very nervous to build up. I've been told I sort of go into my shell a bit.
Yeah,
I remember the build up to my Southern area first day for Birmingham, and Yeah, it was the one fight. I don't know why. I was just really nervous for, for that fight because I was fighting for the Southern area. I was fighting for a professional title.
Yeah.
I didn't think I was ever good enough to box for. And I think the one thing I don't know if you know, I watched this news article. It was on BBC News
Hmm.
of him doing an interview, and he would have been the oldest to win like the Southern area title.
Right. Okay.
There was loads of comments. There was like, I think it was about 1,000 comments. Like people really wishing he does it and wishing him luck. And I remember thinking, I'm like the bad guy in this story. Like no one wants to win this.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that must have kind of give you that extra bit of motivation. No, I mean, like the next time you're in the gym, the next day, you must be like, nah, I'm not letting this guy beat me.
I was. I mean, I wanted to win the belt for my team.
Yeah.
Not just for myself. I wanted to win it for my team for all the hard work they've put into training me, and I wanted to give my coach that another Southern Area champion.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a fight. I was really nervous, and I had an injury in the build up to that fight, which kind of affected me mentally.
Yeah.
So I had a groin injury.
Right. Okay.
Um, like running was out. Like I just felt it all the time. Even when I was sparring, I was feeling this, and I didn't want to pull out the fight.
Yeah.
But there was this worry, like once I'm in the ring, I just slip or jolt it or something like that. And you know what I mean? It was that kind of injury that would just go. I'd have to sit down.
So how was it when you got in there? Did it kind of just did you forget that when you were in the ring?
Yeah, I just forgot it. Just went.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just enjoyed the fight after that. The bell went, the nerves, I lost my nerves, and I just got on with it. And it was probably one of the best nights of my life. So,
Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine, obviously, having like all your friends and family there as well. You must have had a good sort of after fight, like going out maybe for a few drinks and celebrating with them.
yeah, it was. I think remember after the fight, I think as soon as the ref jumped in, I think I just broke down. Like in the last thing, I grabbed my coach. We were just jumping around the ring after. And I was seeing all
Yeah.
my friends and family, and I remember having a few drinks. But I don't know if it was the fight or the fact that I'd been on a diet for like 8 weeks. But as soon as that first alcohol just hit my lips, I was like, I want to go on to bed. I don't feel good. I wasn't ready to.
Well, thank you for coming on. I do appreciate your time, mate. I hopefully you see you back in a ring very soon. I'll definitely be watching, and hopefully everyone who's watching the podcast as well follows your journey. Hopefully you can get that English title, then the British title. So good luck with everything. Thank you for coming on, mate.
Thanks very much for having me.